So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony. I'm going to be up here tonight, and I'm up here because today we have a new member in the family, Ms. Ella Noelani Marquez. And so parents are off with baby. They're enjoying themselves. They're enjoying baby. And so we have the pleasure of being here and allowing the Lord to just speak tonight. And so we really want to see what the Lord is doing. We've been in this series on Ephesians over past, half a year, maybe longer that we've been on it. And I want to ask, who here remembers everything we've spoken on when it comes to Ephesians? Raise your hand. Yep, 2 people. Oh, okay. Actually, no people. Once they realize, wait, no, I don't remember everything. I don't want to get quizzed. So we don't remember everything. So I do want to, in a sense, kind of review. Also, we have new people who showed up midway into the series. And if you watch TV back before Netflix, you knew that's how you did it back then. A series would be going on, and then you just kind of started watching in the middle of the series. And then when they would do reruns, which some of you who are younger, you're like, what's a rerun? That's when they would show an episode again, and that's when you just had to catch it. And so you just kind of come in, and that's what's kind of happened with this series, where it's like you're coming in, and it's like, okay, what's going on? What are we talking about? So tonight, I want to lay some foundation into where we're going to be going in the next few weeks, the next few months, because these next few months, we're going to be getting different speakers, different styles all throughout it, all speaking the same message, but it may feel confusing, it may feel daunting, it may be challenging, because some of us are used to the way Ilsa preaches or the way Pastor Nets preaches. But the Lord wants to show us new aspects of who He is. And He does that sometimes, not just in our intimate times with Him, but also through other people. Because each of us gets a different revelation of who God is, right? And so when you get that revelation of who He is, you're able to share it. But then I can't receive what Pastor Nets gets. I don't receive what Ilse gets. I receive what Anthony gets. Same with you. You receive what you personally get. And so as you receive it, you're able to share it. All right? So that's what we're going to be enjoying over these next few months, a different perspective of who God is, a different angle, same message, same gospel, but a bit of a different way of looking at it based on every person's experience as they come in, every person's background, where you were born, when you were born, your gender, all of that speaks into how you experience God. And it's all beautiful. And so we're about to experience that beauty here these next 3 months. So let's enjoy it. Let's go in it. And let's not be like, oh man, I don't like how this person preaches. You probably never heard them speak. All right. So let's enjoy. All right. And that's the topic of today. Enjoying God. He is our greatest joy. And that is our first duty. So I want to ask here, how many of us have been walking with the Lord for at least 6 months? Raise your hand. At least 6 months. All right. So actually, there's a few of you. How about a year at least? So let's keep your hands raised. At least a year. At least 2 years. At least 3. At least 5. At least 8. At least 10. 15. 20. Some people are like, more, just keep going. All right, we'll stop there. But if you saw, some hands started going down. And in that time, as we walk with the Lord, some of us, our joy increases. Some of us, we get burnt out. Some of us, we stop enjoying it. And we're just like, hey, this is just what I do now. This is my life. This is my lot in life. I go to church every Sunday. I do the thing. I pay my tithe. I go home. And we work and we do all that. And that's great. And that's all right. But I feel like the Lord wants to speak something better today. Because here's the deal. We weren't created just to believe in God. I mean, the devil believes in God. demons believe in God. All right? We were made to enjoy him. We were made to enjoy him. That's our first purpose. How do I know that? Because when we look at Genesis 1, chapter 1, what is happening in there? Creation, right? God's creating everything. And what's the purpose of all creation? Okay, thank you. To enjoy it, in a sense. Yes, thank you. So here's something you're going to learn about me. So I teach at the Rooted School, and one of the things that I love is interaction. So if I pause, that's your cue to say something, to speak up, all right? All right, I want some interaction. I want a lively crowd. If you're falling asleep, I'm probably going to call you out. So this is your chance to start slapping yourself, and go get a drink of water, splash some water in your face, all right? So I'm not going to quiz you. There's no pop quiz at the end. But I do want to speak because we were all singing, yes, Lord, send me anywhere. I'll do anything. I just want to see your glory. But then when you're out there and doing stuff and it gets hard and you don't remember why you're out there, you're like, quit. This is hard. All right. So tonight I want to talk about the why. Why are we with him? So yes, going back Genesis 1, when we were created in a place of pleasure, right? Everything was designed with us in mind, in the sense that we're placed in a garden, everything's awesome, all the animals are there, there is every fruit, every vegetable, anything to eat. The Lord tells Adam, eat of everything except for this one over here, okay? You see this one right here? Don't eat of this one, but you can eat of everything else, okay? Go and enjoy. And then when he notices that he has a need, which was companionship, he said, oh, yeah, we need that. Okay, Adam, go to sleep, takes a rib, and makes Eve. All right? So even when he saw a need, he still provided for that need. So all of it he made with us in mind at the very beginning. When did things go wrong? It happened when man, because of the lies of the enemy, thought that, hey, something's missing. And they eat of the one tree that the Lord told them not to eat of, the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, because they're like, maybe we should get more knowledge just to increase this good stuff, right? Because I feel like the Lord's withholding something. And so they go and they eat of it, and then they lose everything in the process. They lose the garden. They lose access to all this good stuff. They lose access to the Lord directly. And after that, it takes thousands of years to really have that deep connection again. And it's still hard. We're still paying for those mistakes, even today. All right. But the one thing that I want to hit on is that one piece. When the Lord saved us, he said one thing on that cross as right before he died. Does anyone here know what that is? It is finished. It was done. We don't need to do more to be saved. It's done. But now the question is, how are you living out that salvation? What are you doing with it? Are you now saved, but you're still miserable? Are you saved, but you're depressed? Are you saved and you're saying, well, I guess this is what I have to do now. I have to follow these commandments, and that's what it says, and I do this, and I don't do that, and I don't watch that movie, I don't listen to that music. I kind of listen to that music, but I don't really like it, so I'm going to put that away. Or do you actually enjoy life more now? Are you actually smiling more now? When people talk to you, do they light up? Do they say, you know what? I want what they have. So tonight is not a night of shame, all right? Okay, tonight is not a night of shame. Let's say that all together, all right? Tonight is not a night of shame. Tonight is a night where we awaken to enjoyment, all right? To delighting in the Lord. Because if you're going to go anywhere, if that's back to your work, that's back to school, if that's you're going to the mission field, you want to take the joy of the Lord with you. But you can't take the joy of the Lord with you if you don't have it first. All right? So here we go. Luke chapter 10, verse 27. He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. So this was a response to Jesus when Jesus asked, what is the greatest commandment? And there it is. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Now the question is, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. A few of you laughed. Thank you. Those younger are like, what is he talking about? All right. So what is love? Love is a whole mess of things. We see a great definition of it in 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast, so on and so forth. We see that in 1 Corinthians 13. You can read it for yourself. But one of the things that we also see there is that love is enjoyment. When you love something, you also enjoy it, right? If you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't go through the painful things. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about when you have a passion for something, even if it's a sport or if you love a sports team, right? You love them in their great times and you feel the pain when they lose, right? That's passion. When you love someone, you get excited when they succeed. Again, we're in graduation season. Right now, you're excited and you're celebrating with people who are graduating. But when your best friend goes through a breakup, you're right there with them. Because if you ran away during that time, then do you really love them? No, it's like you're there for the good times and the hard times. That's love. Love is patient, love is kind, love enjoys, and love sets in for those harder moments as well. All right, we don't run away, but love truly grows in those moments of joy. Right? If I say, I want to play baseball, and the very first time I go, I'm going to try this, all right. Very first time I go, I get on base, they throw a pitch at me and it hits me on my side. Do I want to go back to that? Probably not. And that's because I'm not in love with it. That was my first time. But if I've been playing the sport, if I love it, I've gotten good at it, and somebody hits me on my side, I get injured, guess what? I'm doing everything to get back on that field. I'm putting in everything. Why? Because I love it. Because I'm passionate for it. And so that enjoyment happens over time. Correct? So here is the main thing. The joy of a person, right? That's where we're going to start. This joy and this love of this person, God. This is what Christianity is about. It's not about us doing good things and us receiving blessings. I mean, yes, we do good things and we do receive blessings. That's there. But really, it's about Him. It's about Jesus. It's about relationship. That's the first yes that we're saying yes to. It's Him. It's a person. It's not an action. It's not, I'm signing up to go to war. It's not, I'm signing up for a better life because my life sucks. Some of those things are the things that bring us in, all right? But they're not the things that keep us there. Because guess what? The war ends. The serving is done. The bad times get good. The good times go bad. The thing that keeps us there is that love, is that passion, is that joy. But if that's not there, we leave. If we're not sold out for it, the first sign of bad news, we're out. The first sign of drama is like, I'm done. I don't need that. 1 Peter 3:8 says, for Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God. So here's the deal. Jesus didn't just die on that cross to save you from hell. He died and resurrected to give you life and give it to you abundantly. All right? Some of us are living as if we don't have that abundant life. And when I say abundance, I'm not just talking about finances here. I'm talking again about love, about joy, about peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, the fruit of the Spirit. If you walk around and there's anxiety, if there's depression, that isn't necessarily like, oh man, I'm a bad person now. No. But it is a symptom of something deeper. That is a symptom. And the cure is Jesus. As we spend time with him, he might remove all depression. He might remove all anxiety. He might remove, but it might take time. Because we don't trust somebody sometimes the first time we meet them, right? God knows that. He made us that way. So if you don't trust him today, he's not like, hey, trust me. Come on. That's a bully. That's a narcissist. And he's not like that. Love is patient. He is patient with us. He's patient to create that bond of trust with us. So we will eventually enjoy him. It's okay if you don't trust God right now completely. But if you're here, there's a reason for it. And God wants to show you something. So my question to you tonight is, do you know him? I mean, actually know him. Know who he is. Have you talked to him? Have you had those moments with him? Because I could know someone. I mean, right now there's a new Mission Impossible movie coming out, right? So Tom Cruise is in it. I know of Tom Cruise. I could tell you all the other movies he's been in. I could tell you what he believes. He's a Scientologist, kind of crazy, kooky. You know, I can tell you all these things. I can tell you he does his own stunts. I can tell you, I can tell you all these things about him. So I know of him. I've never met the guy. I don't have any connection or relationship to him. But I know a lot about him. Same thing goes with God. I can know a lot about God. I could read this thing back and forth and know all these things, but I can still not have a relationship with him. I can be a big fan of God, but I'm not necessarily a friend of God. And that is what he's calling us to be his friends, to enjoy his presence. You know what happens when you hang out with somebody long enough? You see their quirks. You see their moments where you are oppressed and challenged and annoyed. That's what happens. Even your favorite person. Think about your favorite person in the world right now. And there's probably things that annoy you about that person. And they're still your favorite person. You still love them. You'll still die for them. You still want to be around them. And there's little things that annoy you about them, and that's okay. Same thing with God. Like, God is perfect, but guess who isn't? We are. We aren't, I mean. So there you go, not perfect. And so when we're around God, guess what happens? Our imperfections and our insecurities show up. And really, when we don't want to go to God, that's why. It's because we don't want our insecurities to show up. We don't want our imperfections to be there or to be present. So what do? I want to go get perfect before I come to him. Because I don't want to show up all messed up. I don't want to show up all like, no. Like, that's what happens. But God is like, I don't care. I don't care that you're a mess. I don't care that you're in that sin. I mean, he does. That's why he went to the cross. But in the sense of like, I don't care before I start hanging out with you. I just want to be with you. I want to hang out with you. I want to spend time with you. I miss you. You're a mess? Fine. Tell me about it. I want to hear about it. What are you going through? What's hurting? What's going on? I'm not afraid. You have all the time to spend with me. And sometimes that's the first thing we need before we can enjoy. It's just to let loose. Tell them, I'm hurting. This happened. This sucks. And that's the last thing we want to do sometimes. But the thing about love, enjoying relationship is that we do have to be open to it. And we do have to be transparent and vulnerable. And that's scary when you don't trust. Scary. No, it's like, what if I open up and then he discards me like everyone else? What if I'm too much? What if I can't do it? And the Lord's like, I'm enough. I can do it. Let me hear it. Let me in. And if you're not ready, that's okay. We'll just sit here together. That's fine. That's okay. So we get to know him. How do we know God? How do we start learning to trust him? We start to enjoy him. We start to trust him because we start seeing what he does. That's how you learn people and you trust people. You see what they do, what they're about, right? And so we recognize God by his actions and by his invitations to relationship. 1 John chapter 4, verse 9 says, "This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him." So there you go. First thing right there. He's shown his love because he gave his most precious thing, the thing he loved the most, the one he loved the most, for us. Think about the people you care about, and think about this precious thing that you may have. I don't know. Maybe it's a collectible. Maybe it's this thing you've been working for. I don't know. But you know. Now imagine to prove your love to that other person, you have to give this thing up. Would you do it? You don't need to answer. That's okay. But he did. So right there, that's already, boom, point one. But what if that's not enough? Okay, Romans 1, verse 20. "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made." So creation is an aspect of God's love. We just talked about Genesis 1, how he made everything for our delight. Who here has been to the Grand Canyon? Raise your hand. Got a few hands. All right. Who here has seen a picture of the Grand Canyon? Okay, we got more hands. All right. I'd seen many pictures and photos of the Grand Canyon growing up. And people had told me, it's like, yeah, it's amazing. It's a great place to go. It messes with your mind and you just start crying. And I'm like, all right, cool. I would see pictures of it. I'm like, yeah, that looks great. It's a big hole. And then I actually went a few years ago with my brother. We were a bit tired. We got there. And as we're walking up, we parked and we're walking. It's like, okay, whatever. There's some bushes. There's a tree. And then we go and we walk up and, whoa. This isn't just some big hole. It's a lot more, and pictures don't do it justice. Photos don't do it justice. I can try to sell you on it, but my words won't do it justice. It's something you have to experience. There's different colors, the way the sun shines on it. See, there I go. I'm trying to describe it to you, and it's still not going to make it justice. All I can say is you have to experience it yourself. That speaks to its creator. He's awesome. He's amazing. I have a whole book about him, and yet I need to experience him for who he is. I can't just read about him, hear about him. It's not enough. We have to experience him. Creation itself says that as we experience it. So creation speaks of that. Romans 11, verse 33. "Oh, the depths of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out." So even his mysteries, the things that we don't know and understand about him, speak to his love. And you're like, wait, what? Why? How? When you are in love with someone, you want to get to know them more, right? All their little mysteries are the things that you want to know about. And guess what? As soon as you learn one thing, you have 3 more questions. And they keep coming. With the Lord, it's the same thing. But because he's an eternal being, the questions will never end. There will be always new things to discover, always new things to learn, always new things to see. There's a reason why in the book of Revelation we see 4 living creatures who are covered from head to toe with eyes, and they have 6 wings, 2 to cover their eyes, or their face if they can, 2 to cover their feet, and 2 to cover their chest. And the whole time they're there and they're saying, holy, holy, holy. Why are they saying this? Does anyone know? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. They're there and they're exclaiming, and this is my theory, okay? We'll have to ask them when we get there. They've been before God for billions of years, and they've been witnessing him, and all these eyes have seen different angles of who God is, and every time they say, holy, 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 is because they've seen a new aspect of who God is. And they're saying, holy, 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 do you see this? Oh my God. Holy, holy, that I have not seen that. I've been here for 2 billion years and I've never seen that. Oh my gosh. Holy, holy, holy. Oh, that was new. Literally, that was just 3 seconds ago, and now something new. Oh, wow. For billions of years, covered in eyes, and they're just exclaiming, holy, holy, holy. We've been around for what, a few decades? And we're getting bored of him? I don't think that's a God problem. I think that's an us problem. We're the boring ones. But God's saying, let loose a bit. I'll get back to that letting loose in a bit. Remind me about it. Romans 3, verses 24 through 26. We are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement to demonstrate his righteousness. There it is again. He gave us Christ, demonstrating his righteousness. Why? Because there is judgment and there is justice. That means that there was something we needed to pay for. And Jesus paid the price for us. So on one end, he loves us. On another end, he's just and he's righteous and he's trustworthy. Because even the commandments that he sets for us, he sets for himself. He's not like, hey, I'm above the law. No, he's saying we're walking on the same hand, and that's why I pay my debts. I'm not above the law like some of your leaders think they are. I live by that letter to liberate you. That is another aspect of his love. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 20. For no matter how many promises God has made, they are yes in Christ. Every time he says something, he fulfills it, regardless of the time it takes. We see it time and time again in this Bible. We see it with Abraham, even though it took him 25 years. We see it when he speaks of David and says he will be king. It took 15 years. There's a process sometimes to his promises. And he has said, I will return. And it's been about 2,000 years. But it's still a yes. He hasn't forgotten. And so when he promises us something, it will happen. Maybe not in our generation, but it's going to happen. When he promised to Abraham, through you and through your offspring, the nations will be blessed. He had Isaac, just one. Okay, how are the nations going to be blessed by just Isaac? Well, then Isaac had 2. He had Esau and Jacob. Well, what about, okay, then Jacob had 12 tribes of Israel. And then through Israel was born Jesus. It took a few thousand years and a few generations, but it happened. God's a God of generations. God's a God of families. And when he promises you something, he's not just promising you, he's promising your offspring as well. God loves you. And when he said yes to you, he said yes to your offspring. Now, if they say no to it, Esau said no. It's like, hey, I want this soup before I want my inheritance. All right, cool. Some of us lose our inheritance because we want something lesser than. Now, we may laugh at Esau, but how many of us have given up God's inheritance for the pleasures of this world? Now, I'm not saying that there is no turning back or no turning around. There is Jesus. But then once you've said yes to him, why do we sometimes still say no with other aspects? I'll leave that question there for a bit. John 14, verse 9. Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So he didn't just give us Jesus as Savior. He gave us Jesus as example of who God is. So when we read the Gospels and we read of Jesus and his character and who he is and how he is, we're seeing God the Father. Who sometimes we think, oh, God is ruthless and God is punishing and he's going to take out all these people. And all right. Well, when they brought the adulterous woman up to Jesus, what did he say? Let the first one without a sin cast a stone. And they all recognized their own sin and started dropping them, starting with the elders and going down. And then when she's left there, naked and afraid, he looks at her and he says, where are your accusers now? Go and sin no more. We see him, we see the Father. And that's just one example. Look at who Jesus is and look at what he did. Look at what he gets angry about, who he gets angry at, and you'll see the Father. Because sometimes we think, oh my gosh, he's going to get angry at me. And really the people he was getting mad at was the Pharisees. It was the one speaking, the scroll, speaking it, but not living it out. That's who he was getting mad at. He wasn't getting mad at those who were oppressed and messing up because they recognized that they were messing up and that they were broken. He's like, I came for you. You're broken, you admit it. Come here. Let's ride together. I mean, he's the one who was accused of being around drunkards and sluggards. And he's like, you're accusing me of all this stuff just because I'm around them? He's the one hanging out with prostitutes and tax collectors. The ones people kicked around. The ones that maybe we've kicked around. That's who he was around. Why? Because he enjoyed them. They were real. The Pharisees were trying to accuse him. Even when he took out a demon out of a woman, they're like, see, he's with them. He's like, how can I be with them? I literally just took them. If I was with them, I wouldn't be doing this. He's a God of joy. How do I know that? We'll go back. Now we're going to go back to that less loose thing before we go. As we go into this, the call to enjoy. So the Bible commands us to rejoice in God because he is worthy of our delight. You're like, wait, what? Why is he commanding us to enjoy? Why can't I just enjoy? When I was a kid, my parents and the family would go to the beach. And guess who didn't want to go? Me. Because I wanted to stay home. It was the weekend. I want to play video games. I don't want to go to the beach. What's at the beach? Sand? I've seen it before. Guess who didn't want to come back from the beach once we were there? Me. Once we're there, I'm like, no, the waves are amazing. This is awesome. Let's go. Come on, you have school tomorrow. Okay, fine. I needed to be commanded to go to the beach. I needed to be told, go have fun. On one end, I was enjoying and delighting myself with this lesser thing. But then there was this better thing over here. My parents knew better. And they also knew it's like, hey, he's going to be the one who's going to love it the most anyway. That is why God commands us to delight, because sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes We just want to sit there and keep on hustling and keep on going and keep on pushing because, no, this is my responsibility and I have to do this and I have to go. And then we burn out and then we get a heart attack and then we die and that was life. And then it's like, what was the point of all that? Didn't enjoy any of it. When we got saved to enjoy as well. Not just to go. God, Jehovah, is the one God who in his 10 commandments, in one of them he says, remember the Sabbath, for it is holy. What does that mean? In the same way that he rested a day, we rest a day. And why is it a commandment? Because we tend to forget about it when we think we need to work more. How many of us have worked through a week and then start another week and don't rest at all? How many of times forget to spend time with family because we're working and we're pushing? That's why God says, like, I need to command you, because if I don't, you're just going to keep going. Because you think you need to do it. And you're like, no, but the devil never sleeps, so we need to keep going. Do you want to be like God or like the devil? Because God rested. If you want to be like God, if you want to be like Christ, Christ rests. The devil is the one who doesn't. So resting is Christ-like. Doesn't mean you don't ever work. We also plan for it. Say, okay, if I'm going to be resting that day, that means I'll push a bit more this day. So we have that day, no distractions. The Sabbath is about spending it with the Lord, but it's spending it with the Lord in delight. Now it's like, well, now I got to go spend time with the Lord, and we're just going to, hallelujah, okay, cool, and here's my money, and let's go. Let's go get that sandwich. Let's go get that dinner. No. It's about enjoying time with him. I mean, how many of us loved it when our parents were having fun with us when we were kids? Remember those moments. It wasn't about what they bought you. It was just the fact that they were around. And you're like, hey, look at this. Look at what I can do. Look at what I have now. Look at this. Oh my gosh. You want to watch my favorite cartoon with me? Look, oh man, it's amazing. Yeah, I was a hyperactive kid. I was the one who, when I played video games, and this is letting you in, when I would play video games, if I was playing a racing game, I was like this, and I was like, oh, we're going left. Okay, we're going right. Yeah. You don't have to do all that, but I was that kid. My parents enjoyed that about me. That's how the Father is with us. He loves our little quirks and things that you don't like about you. He's like, yeah, I made that. I love that. It's amazing. But they make fun of me. It's like, I love it. That's who he is. I want to jump. This is out of the notes. Matthew chapter 18. The disciples asked Jesus, so who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And he calls to him a child, and he puts him in the midst of them, and he says, I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. You know what a child does? They're real. You've ever talked to a child? They'll tell you things that their parents won't tell you. Stephen, what did you say? Wait. I say Stephen because I don't think any Stephens are here. If your name is Stephen, I'm sorry. That might have been for you. Parents are the ones who get embarrassed. The kids are like, what? It happened. But also they know how to have fun and they know how to let loose. And then later, the responsibilities, worries, and cares of the world come in and rob that of that child. In the same way, the tree of the knowledge of good and bad robbed Adam and Eve of their humility and of their childlikeness. Sometimes we think having more will get us to a better place, but that more is actually what robs us. It doesn't mean we skirt off responsibility. Adam had responsibilities in the garden. He named all the animals while being in the garden. That wasn't a price of sin. That was a part of the package. The difference is that it had a purpose. How many of us, we work and there's a feeling of like this, what's the point of all this? I know some of us have been there. What's the point? And that's a product of the world. Our childlikeness doesn't mean we say no to all responsibility. Yeah, parents, we have to provide, we have to discipline, be there, protect, guard. But a lot of that is already part of the package. We're wired with that. When we do those things, we actually come alive. So it's not a punishment to have those responsibilities. But childlikeness is saying, okay, there are actual things I need to start saying no to because they're robbing me of the one thing I actually want to do, and that's spend time with the Lord. David in Psalm 27 says, this one thing I desire, this one thing I ask for is to spend all the days of my life in the house of my Father. That's the one thing he wanted, and he was king of Israel. He had the most responsibility in all the nation, and he's like, this is the actual thing I desire. You can take it all away. I'll go into these verses in a bit. But we go to Psalm 51. What happens there? Psalm 51 is when David messed up. I won't go into detail into that story, but he messed up big time. All right? If you knew what he did, you wouldn't think he was saved. And yet God calls him a man after his own heart. Would you call a rapist, a murderer, and a liar a son of God? A man after God's own heart? And yet God did with David. Why? Because we look to Psalm 51. This happens after David messed up badly and was confronted by it. He writes this. First verse, he says, have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love, according to your abundant mercy, blot out my transgressions, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sins. I know my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against you have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight, so that you may be justified in your words and blameless in your judgment. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin my mother conceived me. That's another story right there. Behold, you delight in truth in the inward being, and you teach me wisdom in the secret heart. And I want to jump to verse 10, where it says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. Restore me to the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with a willing spirit. Notice what he doesn't say there. He doesn't say, keep my kingdom intact. Don't tell the people. Don't let it be revealed. Let's keep it between you and me. No, he says, return to me the joy of your salvation, because that is the one thing that he missed. That is the one thing that he realized he'd lost in the process of doing all that. He'd lost the joy of his salvation, of his inheritance, of being with the one who completely and fully loves him. So when we end up sinning, it's because we've lost focus and view of the one who loves us. We've lost the joy of our salvation. If there is a point in your life, an aspect in your life where there is hidden sin, instead of looking at that sin and pushing yourself, I need to get rid of this sin, I need to get it away from me or else I can't do it. Sure, but it really is because you've lost sight of the joy of your salvation. You've lost sight of the one who was worth it all, the one who you one day said yes to, and now through your actions you're saying no to. And you're like, God, this is heavy. And it was after this that God said, David is a man unto my own heart. because he's not looking for the pleasures of this world and he's not looking to fix his issues. He is looking to me. He is looking at me. He wants me. And he is willing to give it all up again for me. That is why David is a man unto God's own heart. Because he knew he had the joy of the Lord and he'd lost it. And he wanted it back. He still paid for a lot of his sins in this world, but guess what he did get back? The joy of his salvation. It cost him a lot of stuff. There's a lot of drama in his life. If you want to read into that, read 2 Samuel. Thank you. Read Kings, and you'll see the life of David, and it wasn't all hunky-dory, rainbows and butterflies. No. There's a lot of death and a lot of drama in his life. But one thing he tried to keep focusing, and that was the Lord. That was his joy. So that call to enjoy, commandment to enjoy, that's why we're commanded to it. Because he knows what happens to it when we lose that joy. Philippians 4:4, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Psalm 37:4, take delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 32:11, rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all you who are upright in heart. See, that's another thing right here. When we sing, it's an expression of the joy that we have with the Lord. We're singing out of expression, not out of duty. Oh, okay, I'm going to show up, I'm going to raise my hands, I'm going to sing, and it's going to be awesome. No, we sing as a response to the fact that we have joy already. And if you're saying, God, I don't have joy, ask him, because it is a fruit of the Spirit. As you spend time with him, joy comes out. Joy births out. And joy sometimes looks like dancing and clapping and going crazy and not caring what anyone else is going to do, because that's what a child does. And sometimes it means, hey, I'm just going to sit here and kind of like take it all in, because sometimes a child does that too. A child isn't moved by what's happening in the room all the time. Sometimes they are. But sometimes they just want to do their own thing. And us as children, God's like, come on, worship me as only you know how to worship me, because nobody else worships me like you worship me. Psalm 16:11, you make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. All pleasures he will fill us up with. Psalm 42, as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you. My God, my soul thirsts for God, for the living God. David singing this. Psalm 143:6, I spread out my hands to you. I thirst for you like a parched land. Yeah, there are moments where we need him. Guess what? We cry out for him. I need your joy right now, God. Because guess what? Not every moment in life is easy. If you're going through a hard time, if you've lost someone recently, I get it. You're hearing this and it's like, how can I have joy in this moment? When this person just died, or when this person just left me, or when I just lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to pay for dinner by the end of the week. And that's what we do. We're honest with him and we say, I thirst for you like a parched land. I'm empty right now. God, I need you. Romans 5:11, not only is this so, but we also boast in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. So these aren't just poetic lines. These are expressions of real longing for joy in the real God. So if you ever need to borrow these, go for it. They're there. Use them. And there's so much more as well. As we get into this, as you go through it, there will be things you can borrow from other people who were going through similar things as you are. All right? Pain in life is not new. The people who wrote these things weren't perfect. They've all been there. And they all worship the same God. So you get to borrow their words now. So now we also get to enjoy his gifts. That's the other part. And I'm almost done. There are gifts That sometimes we're like, no, if I enjoy that, that's a distraction. I need to be in the Lord's presence. Everyone quiet. Okay, I'm going to go on my knees. There are moments like that, all right? There are moments of quiet. There are moments of solitude. But there are moments to also get excited, to enjoy. And here are some of the things that God created, and we see it, and we're like, hey, we're enjoying that. Sweetness of honey. How many of us like sweets? All right. Well, God created a tongue that enjoys sweet as well. And that is his kindness in physical form. What about bread? Or food, for that matter? Who enjoys food? All right. Sometimes we're like, no, I can't eat all that stuff. It's obviously moderation. When God created the Sabbath, he created 1 out of 7 days, not all 7 days. It's in the same way, moderation for when it comes to some of these things, right? But it shows that he sustains us. It's his sustenance in creative form. What about water? We need to be hydrated, right? What happens when you don't drink water? You die. Well, first you get headaches, and then you start functioning, and then you die. So it reminds us, I see some people drinking water as I said that, I love it. It reminds us that he refreshes us. When you've been playing a game and you've been running back and forth, it's a hot summer day, we're about to experience those, and you have some water and you pour some on your head, you just feel refreshed. All right, let's go. Round 2. Boom. That's his refreshment over us. What about, and this one's not in your notes, but for you married folk, intimacy with your spouse. That's a good thing. That's a pleasurable thing. That's a desirable thing. Again, done in the right place. That demonstrates his depth of intimacy. What I love about marriage, when I see it, is I see two people who know themselves better than anyone else knows them. And that is a reflection of Christ and the type of relationship he wants to have with us. He wants to go there. He wants to be intimate with us. When I say that, it's not in a crude note. No, but he wants to know us to the deepest parts of us. The things that, again, we don't want to show about ourselves. He wants to know them. And he shows that because there are things in here that are kind of rough, that are kind of hard, that a God who doesn't want to be known wouldn't have allowed in this book. But he allows the ugly stuff as well to show you, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are bad stuff, but I'm here for it, and I'm not going to run away. He wants to know us that deeply, and he wants us to know him that deeply. A mother's hug. How many of us just sometimes need a hug, man? We need that hug. I saw a few hands. If you're around that person, give him a hug. His affection. That shows us his affection towards us. He's affectionate. He's not somebody who's standoffish. The fact that we enjoy hugs shows that he enjoys them because he made us in his image. And even our desire for shiny things. You're like, what? Jewelry? Gold? I don't know. Why do we think that's precious? Why do we have to get a ring when we're going to get married for the lady? And the bigger the better, right? It's because we enjoy that. Who put that type of joy in us? God. But that is showing to his abundance. He made certain things beautiful just for the sake of beauty, and that's it. There's no other purpose behind it. There's no other reason behind it. He did it just because he thought it looked cool. Just because I really enjoy the Grand Canyon. And that's why I really enjoy the Niagara Falls. I really enjoy the Sahara Desert. I enjoy that. And that's why he created these things. That's why he created the massive Pacific. He did it because he enjoys it. And in that same regard, he's saying, enjoy these things. Delight in them as you delight in me. So when we rightly see all these pleasures in the world, when we rightly see them, not when we try to take them for ourselves, not when we do it out of place, not when we abuse them, because all these things that I mentioned, we can abuse them. And in turn, we're abusing ourselves and those around us. All right? Too much food, not good. Too much water, there's such thing as water poisoning, if you didn't know. Too much, intimacy outside of the marriage bed. There's a reason why God speaks against all these. It's because they lead us away from Him. But the pleasures in their right place lead us to Him. They're breadcrumbs back to Him. So I'll end. And delighting is our duty. Because it's actually in your joy in the Lord that other people will want to be around Him. I want to go back to that child allegory, Psalm 9, but in Psalm 19 now. 19 verse 13 or 14, Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." It's little children, that character, that childlikeness that Jesus says, those are the ones who've earned heaven. Those who know how to delight in it. Those who will value it. Those who don't sleep when you tell them they're going to Disneyland the next day. Those are the ones, it's like those like that inherit heaven. The ones who want it. Have you ever talked to a kid who's grown up in a Christian household and you ask them about heaven and they get all excited and they start describing it to you? Or they start asking all these questions about it and they're really curious about it? If you haven't, try it. It'll completely move your faith because you're like, whew, they have more faith than I do. Matthew 22:37, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. So these are the aspects where it is our duty and our command to delight in Him. John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commands. There's a how. When we love Him, when we enjoy Him, part of the product is that we will obey Him. Because now the trust is there. Now it's like, I don't care, God. Fill me with your glory. Just send me wherever you want to send me. I'll do anything. I'll go anywhere. Here's my life. You can have it. I'm yours. Because you've seen that there's nothing better. There's no one better. There's nothing that's going to satisfy you how He satisfies you. So you will obey. You will hear, and it's like, okay, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I trust you. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go with it. So as you delight in Him, you will respond by obeying Him. As you have joy in your salvation, you will go forth and proclaim the gospel because you won't be able to help yourself. 2 Corinthians 8:2, in the midst of every severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. And this is talking about Paul with the Corinthians, telling them, it's like, hey, these other people, they've been in poverty and they've actually been paying the debt that you owe me. Why? Because in their overflowing joy, there's actually a richness that's come up. Because they're just going for it. They're sold out. They don't care. They're not counting. It's like, oh man, how much is this going to cost me? Oh my gosh, I'm 2 steps back. Jesus, I can't follow you anymore. No. It's like when you're sold out for Him, you stop counting the cost because you're like, hey, He loves me enough. We're going to go for it. 1 Corinthians 10:31, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. So that goes back to that place of everything you do it for His glory. Whatever you eat, whatever you do, and if you're like, I don't know if this glorifies God, then don't do it. Sometimes we're like, oh man, I can't do that, or I can't do this, or hey, pastor, can we do this over here? Can I go to a party and dance the Macarena? And if you know what that is, that means you're old, like me. That was the 90s, man. That's a callback. If you're doing it in the Lord, if you believe it's a sin, then don't do it. But if you're in the Lord, there's an aspect of joy that he's delighting in. Jesus' first miracle outside of the womb happened at a party. He made water into wine after all the wine had run out, meaning there's probably drunk people there. Jesus could have said, it's like, good, the wine's gone? Awesome. No. He actually listened to his mom, because Mary's like, hey, they ask, like, hey, what's up? It's like, Jesus is like, it's not my time yet. And Mary doesn't even look at him. She looks at the servants and says, just do whatever he says. So Jesus is like, all right, do that. And so he does it. And they go forth. And that happens. Now, I'm not saying, now some of you may be asking, so does that mean I can go drink wine after this? If that's a straight up question, I would say no. Straight and simple. If you're questioning it, if you're convicted, if you're in a place of doubt, don't do it. All right? And that's where I'll leave that. That is not today's conversation. But there are things, sometimes we put so many restrictions, and that blocks us from the joy of the Lord. Instead of just having an open conversation with him, God, what do you think? Don't do it? Okay. And that's simple. Sometimes we're asking everyone else because we want our answer. We want to get our answer. But if we just went to him, went straight to the source, he'd give us the answer. Have that relationship. Have that conversation. So, again, and I'll end with this. Love and enjoyment and delight comes before the doing. We're going to be learning a lot about what we do as believers. But before any of that, the foundation has to be love. The foundation has to be joy. The foundation has to be you delighting in him. And there are things that maybe, conversations you have to have with the Lord tonight. God, I actually want to let go of this because I want to delight in you more. Because social media is robbing me from spending time with you. Social media isn't bad, but if it's robbing you from him, then something good is robbing you from the best. We may have to have conversations. We may have to say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm letting this go. Not because, if I do this, it's going to separate me from you. And it's like, because I love you so much, I don't want to lose the joy of my salvation. So delight in God. And that right there will be the real root to your obedience and then love for him and your full surrender for him. If I can get the worship team. Guys, we were made to enjoy God because he already enjoys us. He delights in us. He loves us. And from that point, obedience, worship, and love will flow. So tonight, enjoy him. Delight in him. And go to the book and just simply enjoy it. Worship him out of a place of joy and delight